Well, an all-party meeting called by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has unanimously rejected the parliamentary constituency delimitation process expected to take place in 2026. Joining me now to talk about this is former Finance Minister and Congress leader P. Chidambaram. Thank you, Mr. Chidambaram, for your time, for speaking to NDTV. My first question, sir, the all-party meeting called by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has passed a resolution today requesting the centre to give an assurance that if delimitation is done, it should be done based on the 1971 population census from 2026 to the next 30 years. Now, delimitation as an exercise has not seen any increase in the legislative seats since 1973, having been frozen. Now, an administrative exercise such as this is important in a democracy for fair representation. So, it has to happen at some point. What would your comments be in this regard?
Representation is important. Representation based on delimitation may serve one principle, but it may not serve another principle. There are two principles which govern Indian state. First is democracy, the second is federalism. Now, maybe one citizen, one vote, and proportionate representation, and on the basis of that seats are allotted to states may serve the principle of democracy, but it won't serve the principle of federalism. It is not without reason that in 1971, they froze the number of seats allotted to each state in parliament. Since then, 54 years have passed. States have developed at different paces. The population of several states has stabilized. The population of some states have not stabilized, and they continue to rise rapidly.
Right. Mr. Chidambaram, the DMK's proposal in this regard is to urge the centre to use older data sets for delimitation. But, sir, wouldn't that go against the principle of fair representation, considering a lot, including population of states, has changed in the last many years?
It will indeed go against the one citizen, one vote principle. I'm not denying that. But all states were given 1971 as the extent of representation in Parliament, and all states have had an equal right to progress and stabilize their population. If some states have fallen behind in controlling the total fertility rate and in controlling or stabilizing the population, can that be a ground to say we must have increased representation, and the states which have done well in family control and stabilization of the population must suffer? Would that be a fair argument?
On NEP, Tamil Nadu has yet again raised its insistence on a two-language formula. But at a time when we are witnessing mobility and movement of people from several states in and out of Tamil Nadu, wouldn't such a move be seen as parochial or depriving people of the opportunity to learn a new language?
Not at all. People who move will learn the language of the state or the region to which they move. There are millions of Tamils who are settled in Maharashtra, Gujarat, Delhi, Bengal, Uttar Pradesh. They learn Marathi, Gujarati, Hindi, Bengali. They learn. Out of necessity, they will learn. If migrant workers move from the north to the south, they learn a smattering of Tamil or Kannada or Telugu. If they move for a long time, long term, they learn the local language. I can point out hundreds of Biharis and Jharkhandis and Oriya people who were moved to Tamil Nadu, who are engaged in construction, in restaurants, in cane cutting. They have learned the language to the extent they need to know. They may not learn to the extent of writing or reading, but they will speak and understand Tamil or Telugu. Therefore, necessity is the best driver of migrant population. We are not talking about the migrant population. We are talking about the fact that if children have to learn 3 languages, it must be applied uniformly throughout India. But the fact is, in many of the northern Hindi-speaking states, you have much better exposure to these states than I have. You have traveled through these states. Tell me what proportion of children, say up to 15 years of age, what proportion of children in rural Hindi states, Hindi-speaking states, and even in urban areas of Hindi-speaking states speak English? I mean, my empirical evidence shows less than 5% can speak English. You know why? Because most of the government schools in Hindi-speaking states don't appoint English teachers. Not to speak about appointing a Tamil or a Telugu teacher. The Hindi-speaking states, by and large, follow a one-language policy. The common language of speaking is Hindi. The ruling language, official language is Hindi. The medium of instruction is Hindi. The subject they study as a language is Hindi. Now, they are growing up in a one-language environment. Where do they speak English? In the few schools which have English teachers, they don't speak English outside the classroom. So that is why they are not proficient in English at all. It is the same in rural Tamil Nadu also. In rural Tamil Nadu, in government schools, which have English as a subject, 5% of the children can speak or converse in English fluently outside the classroom. Therefore, let us make a success of that second language. If the first language is mother tongue, the second language, according to the new education policy, is English. And the third language is the debate about. Have we made a success of the second language? Let us make a success of the second language before we talk about the third language.
Okay. But Mr. Chidambaram, does the emotive sentiment around Tamil still hold as much resonance in the state as we saw in the 60s? Because the opposition parties, both BJP and AIDMK, are saying that the DMK is raising these ideological, politically sensitive issues because it wants to divert attention from the anti-incumbency of the last 10 years.
There is anti-incumbency of every government, but still governments are re-elected. Therefore, don't set up the bogey of anti-incumbency, and to get over anti-incumbency, these issues are being raised. Recent experience shows that incumbent government have gotten over anti-incumbency and win elections. Haryana, Maharashtra, Bengal are fine examples. Therefore, Tamil Nadu, the DMK government is the incumbent government, and I'm confident that the DMK-led India Alliance will win again in Tamil Nadu in 2026. The issues that are being raised are mainly because of Article 80 of the Constitution, which posits that in 2026 a census will be held or will be held soon after. And any census held after 2026 must, according to the Constitution, lead to a delimitation. And delimitation will throw a spanner in the works of Parliament. It will completely upset the relations between states, and therefore this issue is being raised in 2025. And let me ask you another question. On language, the NEP came in 2020. The three-language promise was made by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1963 and repeated by Indira Gandhi in 1965 and repeated by every Prime Minister, practically every Prime Minister except Mr. Narendra Modi. He has not repeated the promise that English will continue as an associate official language as long as the non-Hindi speaking people want it. Be that as it may. NEP came in 2020. Why suddenly does the Education Minister raise in 2025 that three-language formula must be implemented in Tamil Nadu, otherwise we'll deny funds? Did they deny funds in 2021, 2022? Why are they raising this issue in 2025? Because elections are due in 2026 in Tamil Nadu.
Okay. My last question to you, sir. Do you also see this issue, both NEP and delimitation, sharpening the fault lines between North and South of India? And also, do you see this uniting the opposition or dividing them further? Because opposition parties in the Hindi-speaking states might want to take a position that's more suited to their electorate when it comes to delimitation, especially.
It's not suited to the narrow electorate of the state. I'm raising larger issues. Have we implemented the two languages of the three-language formula? Have we, having acknowledged that English will be the second language, have we made a success of teaching English and have children learned English and able to speak and write fluently and read and write English fluently? If we have not, then why ask the states, particularly Tamil Nadu, to implement a three-language formula when it is done well with two languages, and any number of thousands of private schools are teaching Hindi. The Dakshin Bharat Hindi Prachar Sabha is a major success in Tamil Nadu and the South India. Therefore, I am raising a larger issue. Let us make a success of the second language before we talk about the third language. On delimitation, I'm raising a larger issue. Since we are a federal country, we are a democracy, we are also a federation. Respect both principles, democracy and federation. America solved it by making the House of Representatives based on the principle of one citizen, one vote, but made the state equal among all the 50 states. Each state has 2 senators. Therefore, we have to pay obeisance not only to the principle of democracy, but the principle of federation.